So what is going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to explain the ending cutscene for Tag der Toten. As always, if you do want to enjoy today's video, drop a like rating. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you enjoy it? What did you think? Make sure you are subscribed, but let's get into it. Here we go. So the 11-year Ether storyline finally comes to an end in Tag der Toten. If you haven't seen, the outro on its own is about 7 minutes long. If you haven't already seen it, as it is, I will link it down in the description. But this is it. This is the end of Zombies. Of course, we know we've still got the Ether storyline going on, but as for Ether, it's finally over. We've been told by Jason Blundell and Craig Houston specifically that this map is the conclusion. It pretty much wraps up our whole Zombies storyline, and so with that, as you would expect, there's quite a lot crammed into this cutscene. And also, at the time of me recording this, the map's only been out for a few hours. I haven't had a chance to check out every radio, every audio log, so maybe there's some information in the map that would actually help to explain this ending. Possibly there are things that I haven't seen yet that could explain this better, but this is my interpretation of what I have on the ending. The outro starts off in the forest with our characters Ultimus and Primus still celebrating. Primus Nikolai is pouring them all some wine, and he says, "Comrades, as we toast our victory, I want each of you to think about what you really want." He says, "Where would you like to go now? Believe me, you can have it." And then as they continue to celebrate and drink, we see on the next scene, they are lying dead on the floor. Specifically, we see Dempsey here. The other characters are in the background, we see them later, but Primus Nikolai has poisoned the crew. He kills them. The camera then switches over to Tag der Toten with the Victor's crew, where we can see Stuhlinger is calling out for Richtofen. He says, "Richtofen, has something gone wrong? We did everything that you asked. You haven't forgotten about us, have you?" Meanwhile, we can see the crew are fighting for their lives. They're trying to stay alive, and Richtofen replies, "No, Sammy, I haven't forgotten about you." In which we then switch back to the forest, where we see our crew lying dead on the floor after being poisoned by the wine they drunk, and the only two still alive are Ultimus Richtofen and Primus Nikolai. Nikolai says to Richtofen, "It is time. The multiverse must come to an end. The paradox must be resolved. At least it'll be quick." Nikolai then places the summoning key on top of the artifact and the elemental shard, and he destroys it. Destroying the summoning key destroys the multiverse. Each and every universe, dimension out there is finally once and for all destroyed. And we see evidence of this because on the next scene we cut to our transit crew back in Tag der Toten, where Stuhlinger is saying, "What are you talking about? We found the Algothan device." Richtofen replies, "I know, and I'm so sorry." And at that point, their universe fades to black. It is destroyed, wiping the crew out of existence. We then once again cut back to the forest, where Nikolai says, "I'm sorry too, Richtofen," in which he shoots him in the head. Nikolai then says, "We fought for what we wanted. We got more than we deserved. All the chapters of our lives, good and bad. Even if there was no witness, even if no one cared to see, it still happened, somewhere. We fought the Great War over and over, but victory could never be ours. We were always doomed to fail. Monty told us the truth. Our journey is the very reason this madness exists. We are the ones who fractured the universe. This is the truth. The Canorium showed me. The truth Richtofen could no longer face." In which we can see the Great War, Dr. Monty, the Canorium. Nikolai continues to say, "When we are gone, so too is everything that spewed forth from the ether. Element 115, the Apothecans, even Monty himself. All of it will be banished to where it belongs." And we then see more and more universes slowly disappearing. The Blood of the Dead one, the Alpha Omega universe. The whole multiverse has been destroyed, and each and every universe we are seeing cease to exist. And now once the universe is destroyed and our characters are dead, the only one left alive is Primus Nikolai and the children. Nikolai says to them, "We should not be here. Our time has passed." Of course, Nikolai means he should be dead too. He shouldn't be alive at this point. And the children should have already left this universe. I'm guessing in a short amount of time it's going to be destroyed as well. Nikolai says to the kids, "For all the pain and torment we have endured together, as we leave this life behind, it is my hope that you know one thing beyond any doubt." And then Nikolai gives Samantha his gun as he tells her to shoot him in the head, which is exactly what she does. And now with all of our Primus and Ultimus characters dead, having sacrificed themselves to destroy the multiverse and end the cycle once and for all, to make sure the children can live better lives. We get to see a CGI cutscene, granted it's only short, but it is of our children, Eddie and Samantha, walking towards a light, and as they're travelling, we hear the final wishes of our characters of what they would have liked to have done if their lives were different. Remember in the beginning of this intro, Nikolai asked his crew members to think about what they would have wanted, and now after they are all dead, we are hearing what they wished for. Nikolai said, "You were more than just my allies, you were my brothers in arms. You were my friends." And as the children continue to walk into this light, into their new world, we continue to hear what the crew wished for before they killed themselves. Nikolai said, "I would like to return to my home, my beloved, before the bombs fell, if only to die by her side." Takeo said, "I see myself at peace, sitting beneath a cherry blossom tree, listening to the joy of my children at play." Richtofen said, "I think I'd like to be a teacher, medicine, maybe pathology." Dempsey tells us that he wants to be a DI, and as we then switch over to the Ultimus character's wishes, Nikolai's was to be in his favourite bar, Ultimus Takeo's was to know for sure that he brought honour to the Emperor and his ancestors, Ultimus Richtofen's was to relax, take up a hobby, maybe open up his own morgue, and Ultimus Dempsey's final wish was, well, he didn't seem to care. Wherever he went, he knew he'd still be kicking ass. The characters walk into the light, they go to their new world, and that is the end of the cutscene. This is very interesting and a different take to what a lot of people would have expected. I do expect people to be disappointed just because it's so different. It's not the big fight that we all expected. It's not the characters going out in a heroic way. Well, I guess it is, but not in a massive battle. I guess you kind of have to think deeper about this cutscene. Our characters, all of them, Ultimus and Primus, sacrificed themselves to give the children a better life. Ultimus and Primus had to die in order for that to happen. There was no other way. And so we can see Primus Nikolai ended up poisoning his friends in order for that to happen. And I think this is the reason why it was only Primus Nikolai who could do this. Remember back in Blood of the Dead, he was given the Canorium by Post-Revelations Richtofen and told to read it that he is the only one who can fix all of this because he still has his soul. The other characters couldn't have done this because they had no soul. Nikolai knew that they all had to die in order for this to stop, but if any of the other characters, Dempsey, Takeo or Richtofen, were to have the Canorium, they wouldn't have had, I wouldn't say the guts to kill themselves, but they would have been too selfish or wouldn't have understood that it was the only option because Nikolai had a soul. He knew that them killing themselves would give the children a chance of a new life, whereas the other characters wouldn't because they didn't have a soul. They wouldn't have got that feeling. I guess I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get to hear Primus or Ultimus, Richtofen, Takeo and Dempsey actually say a few words. They didn't really get a chance to speak whilst they were alive. Of course they didn't know that they were being poisoned, but then again, if they did know that, I'm pretty sure they'd try and put a stop to it. Because they had no soul, they would have wanted to have stayed alive. And so Primus Nikolai knew the only way they were going to die was for him to poison them without them knowing, and so that's exactly what they did. And of course he also knows that they all have to die, which is why he tells Samantha to kill him. And with that, with them destroying the summoning key, which destroys the multiverse, also killing everyone, including Victus, the Apothecans, the Keepers, the Shadow Man, Dr. Monty. With all of it now gone, the children have a chance to grow up in a world that isn't infested with zombies or influenced by 115. They now have a chance to actually live their lives as Primus or Ultimus never got to do. And another interesting thing is, Nikolai even says it himself in this trailer, but Monty was never necessarily evil. He was only doing what our characters had done before. Back in Blood of the Dead, we know Primus Richtofen never wanted to sacrifice himself on the Dark Mechanism. He wanted to keep on living. In the end, of course, he didn't, but it was the same for Dr. Monty. Just because he kept the cycle going doesn't necessarily mean he was evil. He just wanted to stay alive. He knew if the cycle was broken, he would cease to exist like everyone else, so you can't exactly blame him for wanting to live. There was no other way around it. Yes, he may have been selfish, but I wouldn't say evil. And so there we go. That is the end of our zombie storyline. Like I said, there are still loads of radios and stuff in this map that I haven't listened to and discovered, which may help us to understand this ending cutscene a little bit more. But in the end, ultimately, the multiverse is destroyed, all of our characters are killed, Ultimus, Primus, Victus, Monty the Shadow Man, everyone. The only two left alive are the children, the innocent, where they are left to wander into a new world, a perfect world, one without zombies, the apothecons, the keepers, any evil inside of it, where they can grow up peacefully as they should do. Our characters sacrifice themselves to give the children a chance to grow up. And so, there we go, that is it. That is the end of Ether, and with all of our characters now dead, I can't ever see this continuing. We've also been told plenty of times that this is the end, although some of us like to believe it could carry on. But yeah, whilst it might not be the action-packed ending, there is no boss fight against Monty or anything like that, it's more meaningful and deeper. And if there was to be a boss fight, all of it would be irrelevant anyway. It would be pointless because everything and everyone just ends up getting destroyed anyway. It would make no sense. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have anything that you'd like to add on to this, any of your ideas, I'd really like to know, so leave them down below. Drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, goodbye.
I want each of you to think about what you really want. Where would you like to go now? Believe me, you can have it.
Toten? Has something gone wrong? We did everything you asked! You haven't forgotten about us, have you?
No, Sammy. I haven't forgotten about you.
It is time, Richtofen. The multiverse must come to an end. The paradox must be resolved. At least, it will be quick.
What are you talking about? We found the Agarvan device!
I know. And I'm so sorry.
Me too, Richtofen. We fought for what we wanted. We got more than we deserved. All the chapters of our lives, good and bad. Even if there was no witness, even if no one cared to see, it still happened somewhere. We fought the Great War over and over, but victory could never be ours. We were always doomed to fail. Monty told us the truth. Our journey is the very reason this madness exists. We are the ones who fractured the universe. This is the truth the Chronorium showed me. The truth Richtofen could no longer face. When we are gone, so too is everything that spewed forth from the ether. Element 115, the Apothecons, even Monty himself. All of it will be banished to where it belongs. The Dark Ether. We should not be here. Our time has passed. But for all the pain and torment we have endured together, as we leave this life behind, it is my hope that you know one thing beyond any doubt.
Look away, Eddie.
You are more than just my allies, my brothers in arms. You were my friends. I would like to return to my home, my beloved, before the bombs fell. If only to die by her side.
I see myself at peace, serene, sitting beneath a cherry blossom tree, listening to the joy of my children at play. I think I'd like to teach medicine, maybe pathology.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I think I'd be a darn good DI. Get those kids toughened up.
I would like to be in favorite bar, but as long as I have vodka, I am happy man.
I would like to know for sure that I brought honor to my ancestors and the Emperor.
I should probably try to relax. Take up a hobby. Maybe I could open my own morgue.
Let me think about it. Wherever I go, you know I'll be kicking ass.